I know I can have some bad habits that would even be associated with a sedentary lifestyle. What are some things I can do to change that?
Two big, easily modifiable factors are drugs and alcohol. Drugs like cannabis can both sometimes positively, depending on the person, or negatively affect libido or erectile function. Alcohol is something where it's typically a dose-dependent response where, one or two drinks can actually improve erectile function, including specifically red wine has been noted to do this in several studies. But the more you drink, the more inhibited those higher cortical areas are, and it typically leads to worsening erectile function, and we all have a term for that I can't really say here on camera today. But yeah, so typically there's a curve at which there's some improvement in response specifically for alcohol, but as you go further down that, with each drink, it gets harder and harder to both obtain and maintain an erection.
You're talking about whiskey dick, aren't you?
You said it, not me. One other really big, easily modifiable factor that can most likely negatively influence erectile function is tobacco use. The active drug in tobacco, nicotine, is a blood vessel constrictor. So it does the opposite of what you want to do when you get an erection, right? So instead of bringing blood flow in and keeping it from going out, it keeps blood flow out of the penis. I'm not saying, having a cigar every now and then is bad, but chronic tobacco use can lead to microvascular deficiencies that can create a whole host of other problems. So tobacco is bad, just don't do it. For a lot of things, including your penis. Anything you can do to improve your cardiovascular fitness, like walking around the block, if you can walk around the block, or taking a couple walks around the block if you can help to improve a lot of factors regarding erectile dysfunction, that blood inflow, blood outflow. On top of that, getting adequate rest, getting sleep, getting at least 3 to 5 hours of good, what we call deep, REM sleep, as well as, just eating a proper diet, and it's hard, it's hard for me. But these are the things you can do immediately to kind of start to turn things the other way around by yourself. You got to do small changes first, myself included. If you're, struggling to exercise, maybe to take the dog for a walk around the block, and maybe if you're feeling good, do it again. I'll be honest, there are no real easy solutions to that aspect of changing your life. But what I recommend and would be, starting small and making, an actionable objective that you can look back and say, hey, this is a small win. I did it, now I'll move on to the next one, and make each goal a little larger. And for guys that are willing to, go that extra mile, take that extra step, those small changes can have a big effect on your overall erectile function.
What does a breakthrough look like for a guy with ED?
Some of the top contributors for erectile dysfunction are smoking, probably number one, a poor diet, number two, increased body fat, number three, increased stress, and poor sleep. Well, imagine a guy that's 40 pounds overweight, can't get off the couch, he's depressed, and then all of a sudden he starts doing all these lifestyle factors. He's getting to bed on time, he's eating right, he's losing weight, he's exercising. It can be such a big life change for them. They're finding time now to do things they really like. They're getting outside more often. They're more interactive with their kids. They're more interactive with their partners. So if you really have a problem with erectile dysfunction, if you take a whole systems approach and really lots of lifestyle modification, it can really affect all aspects of your whole life for the better.
As a partner of someone who may have ED, what can I do to help?
There's a lot of lifestyle factors that you can really help your partner with. Helping cook healthy meals at home, avoiding bad behaviors like smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol to excess. Encouraging exercise and weightlifting is key. Encouraging good sleep hygiene and good sleep techniques, going to bed at a decent time. It's best to go to bed by probably about 10 o'clock p.m. because you're gonna get your most deep sleep, which is your restorative sleep, between 10 and 2 a.m. So being supportive in that nature. And then also being supportive around sexual relations and being sensitive to the fellow.
What are other positive changes people are making outside of diet for ED?
Quitting smoking and reducing your alcohol. Alcohol can cause some dehydration, and when we have dehydration, we have a lower blood volume. And again, that doesn't promote blood flow, that's our goal. And then smoking is very, very hard on the body and very taxing to the organs. So again, we're trying to create a place that is blood flowing, and smoking is known to cause heart disease. And so that's something we don't want to do. But again, starting slowly, maybe cutting 1 or 2 cigarettes a day instead of doing 5 a day, things of that nature. Other parts that are important is reducing your stress and making sure you're getting enough sleep.
If someone did cut back on alcohol or smoking, how quickly will they start seeing effects? I mean, I would imagine it's different per person, but it feels good to see an effect right away.
Yeah, different per person. I think it also starts on maybe like what's your drink of choice. But for the most part, people start feeling effects within weeks. If you are usually drinking something that's alcoholic, a beer based, something that's a cleaner alcohol would be like potato vodka. So even if you switch to that with a little bit of lime or lemon, that's cleaner than a beer that's based from wheat, something of that nature.
Interesting.
How important is sleep as it relates to ED?
It's really important because when we get even just 1 night of bad sleep actually reduces our insulin sensitivity the next day. It also affects hunger hormones. So if you don't get good sleep the next day, have you ever noticed that you're really hungry the next day? And that's because our hunger hormones are so much higher. So we're hungrier, so we eat more, and then we're getting into gaining weight, and then we're just, carrying all this inflammation. And another thing that sleep is just so important is where our body rests and gets rejuvenated for the next day and revitalizes our cells. And so getting enough sleep and good quality sleep is so important.
Eating before bed. How long before you go to bed should you stop eating?
That's a great question. So naturally, there's a lot, one of the diets that are going around is intermittent fasting, which is awesome. There are all studies that show great stuff with it. But naturally, people can just fast from not eating after dinner to going and eating breakfast at like 8 or 9 a.m. So what you're doing is you're getting 12 hours of a good fast, and that's the goal. You don't have to go like 16 or 20 hours. I would be very hangry at that point. But people also really will do good with maybe doing a little bit of like a fat or a protein, maybe even a little bit of carb, like a plantain cooked in coconut oil, having that balanced macro ratio. But that can sometimes actually help promote better sleep. So, but ideally you don't want to eat within a couple hours before bed.
Does coffee and drinks and stuff count?
I wouldn't recommend coffee because—
Well, not before bed, obviously,
Yes.
but like waking up, you wake up at 6, have a cup of coffee, does that count as your fast until
Yeah,
9?
technically, because if you're not putting any creamer or sugar in it, if it's just black coffee, it's not promoting an insulin response. And another thing I promote is stress relief, because like I said, you can eat well, you can exercise perfect, but if you don't have your stress levels under control, you have to get them under control. So the easiest way to reduce stress is doing something you love. And that's very different for everyone. And sometimes my patients look at me and they're like, that's as simple as that? I say, yes. One thing, we're a very stressed out society. We're always on the go, go, go. And so whether it's hiking, whether it's watching a football game with your friends, no matter what it is, make time for it. If you have to schedule it into your calendar like you would a date, you schedule it, because making that time out, getting out of work mode or whatever you're stressed about, that is one of the easiest and most enjoyable ways of reducing stress. Other things that you can do is they're called adaptogens, and these are in supplement form. And there's different ones. There's reishi mushroom, cordyceps, ashwagandha, ginseng. There's tons of different adaptogens. And what adaptogens mean is that these herbs or supplements helps our body adapt to stress more on a biochemical level. So it blunts the negative effect of like having too much cortisol, too much stress.
So changing your diet and lifestyle can also help your libido, right?
Yes, because once you get all these things flowing, you have proper nutrients in your body, things are just working, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It seems like you can appear vibrant and healthy on the outside, but still feel just lethargic and blah on the inside.
Definitely, and I think we're in an age of social media. And we sometimes look at pictures of like, wow, he is really fit, and you feel down about yourself. But little do you know is I see those people in my practice, and I see them and they have hormonal imbalances. They are really stressed out. They don't feel good. They feel really tired. And so To have an appearance like that, it's wonderful. But if you're not feeling it on the inside, that's just, it's not worth it.
Yeah, what's the point?
It's not worth it. And so I do personally see people that are exactly like that, looking great, but on the inside, they have digestive issues and you name it.